Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Christian Rocky here with Duel-Threat Sports. We're going to be going over the Week 4 games and seeing where we left off on our picks from last week. You went 8-7 against the picks here, and I went 11-4. So that puts our total to I'm 28-17, and you're 26-19 on the year so far.
So I was a good amount ahead of you, I guess.
You were. You were. I think it was from week 2, I believe, that it was super far ahead. Well, being from Chicago, I guess we should start with the Bears-Lions game for sure. The biggest takeaway is obviously losing David Montgomery.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, I think, in the game before that, too.
2 touchdowns, I want to say 120 yards from scrimmage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why was he not in your... Was he in your waiver wire pickups?
He's a Damian Williams.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. I don't really know exactly what to think of him, and there wasn't really a clear timetable on him at the time of making the video. At that point, there's still a chance that he's like good for next week.
Oh.
So there wasn't really a set thing. I mean, he's a decent pickup. I have him in a league, and I feel pretty good about him. I think he's one of those like J.D. McKissick, Naeem Hines, kind of like 10 solid 10 points a week kind of guy. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. The biggest takeaway is obviously David Montgomery. That sucks for fantasy owners. That sucks as a Bears fan. Justin Fields looks good. I don't know if you noticed this, but I 1,000% believe that was not Matt Nagy calling the plays last weekend. That was a laser because they were taking shots downfield.
Yeah, but guy, he still didn't have any touchdowns. They had one big play, I think. It was like a busted up, like it was a 40 or 50-yard play. It was a good play, but I think it was more blown coverage than it was them having a good offensive call or whatever, so.
The team needs to work with him for him to grow, and what he was able to do good last week was not given available all year until now.
Yeah, you just see that their offensive scheme is just very limited when just Justin Fields is on the field.
They're like that. They're like that with Andy Dalton too.
No, it's because he's a rookie. He's just very limited in his play calling. Like he doesn't have a very big package that they can go to.
No, their offense runs. Beside last week, prior to that, their offense has ran the same. There's no different offense for Andy Dalton or Justin Fields. It's the same offense. Andy Dalton's game that he started the entire game in week 1, not one pass went over 10 yards or targeted.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. The play calling. Dalton might have 100 different plays that they'll call for him. Justin Fields only has 25. That's my point. Is his offensive package is so limited that it's just hard for him to do much against defenses when defenses pretty much know what he's going to be doing.
They basically don't even have him running yet either, which is good and bad, but
yeah.
But I mean, we'll take the win here. Obviously, notables on the Lions side is I'd say DeAndre Swift is pretty damn good. That's what I've realized this year, especially fantasy-wise. Swift is good. He's a good player. He's definitely a good player. Other than that, I don't know if Andy Dalton's going to be playing or not, or it's going to be Fields, or who knows. There's always a lot to talk about it. We'll talk about more on Thursday when we get a little bit more insider on how Andy Dalton is doing. But for now, we're going to move on to the Browns-Vikings. It was a very hard played defensive game the entire game. I was a little bit nervous at first about Dalvin Cook's health. He was limited, but if you were to look at Alexander Madison, he still had a touch or two less than Cook, even with the limited. It's just how the offense was going. It's how the day was playing. So as far as Dalvin Cook's health, I don't feel bad about it the way I thought maybe it looked.
Yeah, but then why would he be doing a timeshare with Madison if he wasn't?
Because limited is fine. Limited's okay. That's being worked back in. A half and half is better than
for the big plays. So I mean, I didn't watch the game, but at 14-7, he should. That means if you're limited, that means if it's a close game, late game, you're in the game the entire time.
No, they can't risk him. I thought he was more on a 5 touches or less. He was more on a 50-50, and to me that's a good sign because this was a potential 2 to 3 week not playing at all injury.
Yeah, it was a weird game. I looked at the score and I thought a safety happened, but it's because the Browns went for 2 instead of kicking the field goal on their touchdown. I think they realized that it was going to be a very low-scoring game, so they went for 2, wanting to cash in on those extra points.
Yeah, no, for sure. I still think on the Browns side, though, I watched and I looked at the stat lines, and it's like Odell Beckham, dude, is he still playing hurt? Or I don't know. I blame a lot of it on Mayfield, too. His accuracy is pretty trash.
He's a game manager at best.
Yeah, I just think he's not super impressive. I did see there's certain stats that you could look at, and it's like air yards missed because of bad throws, and Odell Beckham is top 5 in the league. So it's basically pointing to a lot of overthrows by Baker Mayfield to him. And I feel bad for the dude because the world kind of hates him ever since that crazy catch, you know what I mean? And I'm like, did he fall off? But everything I look to, I just think Baker Mayfield's not that good.
Yeah, no, he's just, like I said, game manager at best.
Right. I mean, he knows how to run the offense for the running backs, basically, is how you could call it, too.
Yeah, he does just enough.
Yeah, just enough, basically. But yeah, no, it was a tough game for sure. I give the Browns props. It was very good on the defensive side, really, on both sides even. It's not like the Browns did a whole lot. I seen Nick Chubb try to get in from the 1 3 downs in a row and then had to kick it.
Oh,
wow. Which is terrible. I don't know why he's always struggled a little bit at the 1. I've seen more Nick Chubb touchdowns from 15 yards out than 2 yards in. Which is kind of funny.
Some running backs have that issue.
Yeah, no, for sure. Is there anything else that you wanted to note about this game?
No injuries that I know of.
Yeah, no,
other than Dalvin
Cook,
something to monitor, I guess, as the week goes by.
Yeah, other than that, both teams looked good injury-wise, for sure. Moving on to the next game, Bills-Texans. What do you got to tell me about that?
I really just, we can speed through this one. I say 40-0 Texans had, I think they called a guy up from college for this one to be quarterback. So obviously it wasn't going to be much of a game. I think we were debating in the last week's video on if the over was going to hit. And me or you said it. I think we either said the Bills can score 35 points or 40 points, but the Texans can literally score no points and the under could hit. So we didn't want to touch the under. And that's exactly.
Yep.
That's all I had to say about that. We can move on. Poor Texans.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, to even add a quicker fantasy implications, wide receiver wise, Brandon Cooks, nobody else. Quarterback, don't touch him. If Tyrod comes back, I don't even know if I touch him in 2 quarterback leagues. Running backs, maybe Mark Ingram. That's about it. There's nothing NFL wise to talk about him, and not much fantasy either. As far as Bills go, 2 words: Josh Allen. I think we're good to go here, right?
Yeah.
All right, next game. A huge game here. The Chiefs and the Eagles. First big week I seen from Hilaire.
Yeah, he was good, but I think he still even like shared the ball mostly with who's the back?
I have him in a league. Is it
Damian Williams?
Damian Williams is
Darrell Williams?
Darrell Williams, yeah. Yeah. I seen he even had about close to double-digit carries, about 10 fantasy points as well.
He vultured a touchdown from Hilaire and within like the 5-yard line, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I seen Hilaire doing some work, and I'm like, finally.
I mean, 14 carries for 100+ yards, pretty good. Plus, he had a couple catches. Oh yeah, he had a catch for a touchdown too.
How about Tyreek Hill's 11 catch, almost 200 yard, 3 touchdown, 50 fantasy point day?
Yeah, I mean, newsflash, Tyreek Hill's good. But
I missed him in.
The only main thing I have to say is they could have gotten screwed out of this game because of the refs, because of they forced the Chiefs forced the fumble at the 5-yard line, and they called it down by contact, and they didn't have enough time. Any turnover is automatically reviewed by the booth, not the coaches. So you don't have to challenge a turnover call, but because it was ruled down by contact, they were allowed to rush to the ball and immediately quick snap it before anybody had any time to review the or even look on the big screen. And while their next play was happening, they slow motioned the play, and he clear as day fumbled. So because the referees can't just let the play go and then see what happens, the Eagles scored, I think, a play or two after that. So it just almost completely screwed the Chiefs out of that game. And I think at that point, the Eagles were tied or up by 2. So, or after they scored the touchdown. So, I mean, it was a huge missed call. And that happens all the time. And I'm just honestly kind of sick of it. I wish they just let it go. I could understand it. The only time is if the coaches are out of challenges, and then if you don't rule it down by contact, then there's no way that they can challenge it if it's a bad call. But other than that, they have the challenges for a reason. If they win the challenge, they don't. It's like nothing happened. They don't lose a timeout. They don't lose a challenge.
Right.
They keep their challenge. So I think it's very bad for football when certain rules like that could cost a game like that, especially with the Super Bowl Chiefs, who were 1-2. If they lose that game because of a crappy call by the referees and become 1-3, you don't think that was? If you don't think that was going to be a big issue, you're crazy, because it would have been all over NFL of, do we continue this down by contact rule type of deal? Because
yeah, it's weird. They're very inconsistent with that. I will say it is kind of a hard call, and it is pretty situational. A weird version of it I seen in the Packers-Steelers game when I was watching it, where Aaron Rodgers almost got Mike Tomlin for a quick start, about to snap it before all their guys got back. And he I'm pretty sure he did snap. He did even snap the ball, and then Mike Tomlin got the timeout after. Which is still one of those kind of things of when does the next play start? You know what I mean? Why is there some timeouts thrown after the next play is pretty much starting? And right. In that scenario, that would have made a difference there, where Mike Tomlin was able to call that timeout where Rodgers was basically already starting the play. and the whistles got blown. So whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's quick snaps to the next play and getting the defense off guard or down by contact, you just need to see a little bit more consistency from the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, the PI, I've seen a lot of crap on that where it's like what some of the wide receivers are doing to the DBs would be pass interference if the DBs were doing it to the wideouts. So I think a lot of the cornerbacks are getting kind of unfair treatment when it comes to that shit sometimes.
You're right.
But on the Eagles side, man, quarterback looks good, and with no help at all, because Miles Sanders looks like shit again. His backup Gainwell looked really good. Jalen Reagor looked like shit again. And his number 2 is, what's his name? Is a rookie. Devonta Smith. He looked pretty good. I'm to the point where it's like, I almost would take those guys over the starters, dude. I'm tired of waiting on those guys. But we spent a lot of time here. We're going to go over to the Seahawks and 49ers, if you want to start that up.
Give me a check. I believe. Hold on.
All right, all right. This has to get deleted. This part would get deleted anyway because you said about 12 times. All right, so if you want to move on to the Seahawks and 49ers.
Yeah. Seahawks had 5 straight 5-and-outs. Terrible. First time they did that since 2008.
Yeah, that's terrible.
They lost to the Raiders that game, so at least positive note, they won this game. They had to have the other team's kicker hurt themselves and the quarterback hurt themselves at halftime to do it, but you know what, we'll take it. As a Seahawks fan, we'll take it, and we'll take it as a positive note into the Thursday game against the Rams. Positives is that they didn't have many injuries. They had Carlos Dunlap and another player on defense go down that could be an issue, but with Darrell Henderson, his rib, I believe, got bothered again slightly in the game, so he's going to be questionable all week, monitored all week. So I don't know if he might play, but could be limited. I think their running game overall will just be limited if they go into a quick, score fest against the Seahawks. I think they could eventually just abandon the run altogether. I believe you saw that pretty much in Arizona. Darrell Henderson was having a good game, but they got down behind too early. So I'm hoping again that's the case. Partly because Chris Carson has been pretty ineffective. We have put in Alex Collins, and he's been really, really good. Maybe you do a 1-2 package so you're not overworking Carson there.
Well, the split last week was pretty split between Carson and Alex Collins. I think Carson owners and fantasy should be getting a little worried at this point.
Yeah, you hope. I mean, yeah, fantasy-wise, sure, that's not great, but you just hope as, a Seahawks fan and just whatever, that maybe the lightening his load, helps him, put a little spring in his step, and they have a nice little 1-2 punch, and then that eases Russell Wilson's workload to where, they have to stack the box a bit more to where it opens up the passing lanes, because if they don't have to stack the box, they can double more easily. And again, I think this Thursday will be a nice offensive shoot 'em out, and it's going to be Jalen Ramsey locking down Metcalf. That's going to be a nice matchup to watch this Thursday for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I guess it depends on how healthy Tyler Lockett's looking. If he's looking good out there, I say Ramsey goes on him. But I assume, given the injury, it's going to be no.
No, he's after Metcalf because, Metcalf has a foot issue, but it's actually Metcalf that's hurt. Lockett's been completely cleared health-wise. But, it's Metcalf's size that the Rams don't have in the secondary. So Ramsey's defense has to just lock out Metcalf and shut him down. So really, you're gonna have to. I would look to see if you can take Lockett as a flyer in one of your DFS or DFS leagues, or Gerald Everett if he's cleared to play, because he had COVID, but he tested negative for COVID today or Monday, and if he tests negative today, he'll get cleared to play. So he might be a nice flyer. But yeah, I think good game out of the Seahawks. Second half, they came back against the 49ers. They had negative yards of offense with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, and then pretty much turned it around from there after the injury. Nothing more to say about that. Jared Garoppolo and
Jimmy Garoppolo, young man.
Yeah, I did. Jimmy Garoppolo and Robbie Gould. If you're in a kicking league, he's an issue to worry about. I'm sure a lot of people have him. Garoppolo, and then there's 1,000,001 49ers injuries, but those were the ones that happened that was significant in the 49er game.
Yeah, I think Jimmy sits at least 1 week. I don't know if that's better or worse for the team. I don't really know, especially with the running backs.
It could be 1 week, but that's like leg.
You're lagging out really bad, so I'm going to pause for a second.
I'm lagging?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
All right, talk again.
Am I okay?
Keep talking. It's good. This is going to be cut. Just keep talking to make sure it's good.
Can you hear me? Am I not cutting out anymore?
Okay, yeah. Whenever you're ready, you could start back.
Sure, I forgot. Dude, cutting me out, I totally forgot where I was at.
It was terrible. You couldn't hear. You heard every fourth word you were saying.
Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, all I was saying was the only injuries to monitors from this game is Garoppolo's injury and Robbie Gould. Other than that, no significant injuries in this game. And
yeah.
The Seahawks, the division win. So look to if the Rams lose there, the Rams would also be 0-2 in the division. Because they're 0-1, they went 0-1 against the Cardinals, so that would mean then, even though the Seahawks are 3-2, they'd be 2-0 in their they'd be 3-2, but they'd be 3-0 in their division or something like that. So it's very good for them, going forward. And they definitely need this win. They don't play the Rams well, but that's next week. On to the next game.
Yeah, going to the Packers and Steelers game, I thought that was going to be a lot better. Big Ben just continues to be unimpressive week after week. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think at this point is kind of showing he was a big product of Ben, which Ben has done to a lot of guys over his years, but I'm just so unimpressed with him. On the flip side, I'm very impressed with that rookie running back they have, for sure. But Ben continues to unimpress. Aaron Rodgers continues to impress. And shout out Randall Cobb, still killing it.
Yeah. He had
2 touchdowns.
That last touchdown was just that was really weird. But the first one was really good, a really cool pass. But that second one was more like pitch, and he was falling down. I don't know, it was just really weird. But yeah, to see him connect with, and that was his 420th pass to pass Dan Marino all time. So it was cool to see somebody that he's been with for so long to do it with. But the game itself, 27-17. closer score than it was. Closer score on paper than it was in the game. Like you said, Roethlisberger just looked like crap. So it was not as close as the score implies. The only thing you really have to say about this game is Aaron Rodgers passing Dan Marino all time for touchdowns. But yeah, that's all. I mean, like you said, Packers look good, Steelers don't.
Yeah. Other thing I did notice on the Packers side too is I mentioned in my waiver wire column, if you want to stash a guy, I'd say in the top like 5 or 6 now, AJ Dillon through 4 weeks, I think kind of places himself in that conversation. I think he's a solid young player that could do well with Rodgers if anything were to happen to Aaron Jones. I say he looked pretty damn good in that game. And just the last thing about Ben is that defense is pretty good for him to be playing like this. You know, I think it just shows like that's how kind of far he's fallen down this year, that he has a good defense for them to be playing this bad. And his running back is putting up good stats.
They just haven't seemed in sync on offense either.
Yeah. And considering that's why I think that rookie's so impressive, because he's putting up numbers and killing it out there as a rookie with a future Hall of Famer as Ben struggling, and he's still putting the work up. Man, he's going to be good. And whether it's next year, you know, or at the end of this year, he'll be a top 10 guy, I think, at somewhere. He's a very, very good player, I think. But we spent a decent amount of time on that one, so we're going to move on to the next one here with the Titans-Jets, if you want to go into that one.
Well, yeah, it was actually a pretty good game all around. You knew it was going to be a weird game without A.J. Brown and Julio Jones in the game. I think there was like 9 field goals kicked in this thing. Maybe more. Titans had a chance to tie it up in overtime. Well, actually, it was 24-17, and the Jets were very Jets-like and gave the ball up with like a minute and a half left to go, with like 80 yards to go, and they gave up a touchdown in the last like 5 seconds on a 2-yard pass. And so they went to overtime. And then again, you know, they could have scored a touchdown, but they ended up only getting the field goal. And, you know, very Jets-like, giving them a chance. And the Titans march down the field, and then they get stalled on the 30 or whatever and kick a field goal, and they actually missed. So, Jets win one. So, I mean, yeah.
Jets got the first one. Shout out Zach Wilson, Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, the whole squad in that bitch.
Not a game, not the way I guess you want your first game that you win to be like, but I mean, I guess like you say, you'll take it, but it's just a really ugly win.
Gotta win one.
Really ugly. Yeah. You'll hope to see better out of them, but I mean, again, it's the Jets. They don't put much into their teams. Yeah.
I mean, with that being said, no Julio and no A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
I think Titans are bad until further notice.
Yeah. I mean, you got to monitor their health further, you know.
I think even if it's only one coming back, that's enough to make them more like normal. They'll struggle against good teams, but you wouldn't see them lose a game against the Jets even if they had one of those guys.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we'll see what that is. I guess we'll just be taking a look at Julio and AJ going into next week. But going into my Colts against the Dolphins, I knew it was going to happen. Carson Wentz got the first win. 1 second. I knew it was going to happen. Carson Wentz got the first win for the horseshoe. He was looking good out there. He's starting to get more mobility, moving around. This is the guy that I expected to see coming onto this team. Like I mentioned, 2 different shows now. The waiver column yesterday. Yes, that came out yesterday. Is I think he's going to be pretty decent as far as picking him up. It may not be a two quarterback league, but I'd say low end quarterback 2, high end quarterback 3 for a two quarterback league. Maybe not your standard leagues, but I think they look good. They have had a very, very tough schedule going into this year so far. So getting that first win, especially without a T.Y. Hilton and a bunch of young wide receivers out there going against that top end tier elite Miami secondary, was impressive. I think he's looking good, especially with not much out of the backfield. I mean, he didn't have to look to them really for too much. The whole backfield, all three running backs were efficient with the workload they got, but it wasn't a huge workload. So I'm just very proud of that first win, and I think it could translate to good things. Sitting at 1-3, even going into week 5, got the first win. Carson Wentz is healthy. We're probably still, a little bit while before T.Y. Hilton, but to me, it's a win. Carson Wentz healthy is the win to me.
I mean, really, they could be sitting at 3-1 right here. So, I mean, they really only weren't in the first game.
I believe a total points lost by is around 10. Maybe it's like 12, 13 points total lost by that they've lost by in all games total. It really isn't that much. I think the Seahawks game was kind of like a late game catch up. I think they were down like 17-0, and then they ended up only losing like 28-21 or something along those lines. So it wasn't as close as it looked, but either way, I think they're definitely going to come in, come in a lot stronger the second half of the season. I mean, we're not there yet, but you get the point. As far as the Miami side, I think they're missing Tua quite a bit. With that being said, Jacoby Brissett, I think, is doing pretty well in his absence for sure. I think Devontae Parker is kind of back to being the number one guy. I don't think Waddle is quite there yet, at least for fantasy-wise. And I think Mike Gesicki's the man.
Yeah, he's a streamer. No.
I wouldn't even call him a streamer at this point. He's borderline top 10. I mean, tight ends are really a lot worse than people think.
Yeah, that's true.
Tight ends are a lot worse than people think. I mean, Jared Cook is like a top 15 guy because of one 19-point performance on the Monday night game.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's pretty bad. But anyway, I took a long time because that's my squad. We're going to move over to Washington and Atlanta. 34-30 Washington. Good game.
Speed through the more insignificant games like this one. Atlanta lost again. Big surprise. No big injuries in this game. Other than to again continue to monitor on how many more weeks Fitzpatrick's going to be out. But the Washington football team is just there's as long as he stays around a steady 500. Once he gets back, you can feel solid about that team. They're not too bad. But Falcons are pretty bad, and so is Matt Ryan. I
think they could look at themselves as even potentially, I don't know about winning, but I could see them end up second in that division if, like you said, they're around 500 by the time Fitzpatrick comes back. Their defense is very solid. I think J.D. McKissick is a very solid pair with Antonio Gibson not being a super big pass catcher in that backfield. I think McLaurin has continued what he's shown everybody from last year. I think he's been impressive, and I think that they've looked pretty decent considering Curtis Samuel has been hurt up to this point, and now they're going to be having him come in as the number 2. They did lose Logan Thomas, and they still continue to get it done, and I think even with Heineke that he's looking pretty decent. He's not bad. I just think they're a team that does well with what they have. Not amazing, but well enough. I think Matt Ryan is looking washed up as hell. He's looking bad. He's looking really bad. And what I was mentioning earlier of missed air yards, Calvin Ridley is number 2 in the NFL of underthrown, too much to the left, too much to the right, overthrown passes from Matt Ryan. Now, he has a good amount of drops, too, but I was thinking it was all on losing Julio. Looking at the numbers, it's Matt Ryan, not Kelvin Ridley, who's doing this to the team.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
And, I mean, I think Mike Davis is still pretty solid. To touch on that just super quick is, if you're looking at this team or you have a Mike Davis, don't look too bad on him now. I do think that this team can at some point support Ridley, Mike Davis, and Cordell Patterson, because a lot of people are comparing Mike Davis to Cordell Patterson, which isn't really super fair, because Cordell Patterson is not only touching the ball, running it, he's lining up in slot packages even. So he's kind of playing wide receiver and running back. So it's not like running back versus running back who's going to start or do better. He's not going to start. Mike Davis is still going to start. So that's really the only positive to say about them. Fantasy-wise, I think you can get a couple guys. But other than that, I think we're done here. Moving on to the Giants and Saints. Biggest question mark. First thing I think of when I hear this game. What's up with Alvin Kamara?
It's Jameis Winston. It's not Alvin Kamara. It's Winston.
What would he look like with Taysom Hill on that field?
Getting more catches, I'm sure. A catch.
Yeah, because that's the biggest question is, he looked pretty decent yesterday. I think Jameis Winston is probably the best option, but I don't know that the team thinks that. I don't know if the fans think that.
He wasn't targeted. It was not a good game. They lost in overtime to the Giants. And he didn't get a target for the first time in his career. That's the first answer why. That's the first answer I can think of for sure is why they lost. It's because Alvin Kamara.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the offense should run around him, and that clearly didn't happen. As far as Jameis Winston...
When you don't have... who's the wide receiver that's hurt?
Michael Thomas.
Yeah, especially when you don't have a Michael Thomas, and you're not going to do anything you can to put your ball into your playmaker's hands. I mean, you need separation. It's too telegraphed when you're just handing him the ball off. I don't care if he got 26 carries. The fact that he got no targets is terrible.
Yeah, the offense needs to run through him a very big amount of the time until Michael Thomas gets back. The biggest thing I could say, in my opinion, on is Jameis going to get benched or not is, if Jameis can last until Michael Thomas comes back, which who knows when that's going to be. If Jameis can last until when Michael Thomas comes back, I think he keeps it the whole year. But that's the question. Can he?
I believe Teddy Bridgewater was a top 15 quarterback, or when almost the borderline number one quarterback with Mike Thomas. While Drew Brees was hurt that one little stint, and he played 5 games for him.
Yeah.
He was 5-0, and he was borderline, I think, a number one quarterback. Or at least Michael Thomas was still a number one wide receiver at that point. So the numbers are still there to be had. It's just, I don't get why. I mean, and Jameis Winston used to throw for 4,000 to 5,000 yards a season.
Well, I mean, look at who he's throwing to.
Well, yeah, right. But again, his passes are I think he's averaging less than 10 yards per completion. So it's just very small, very short.
I think his throws are pretty far downfield. Like his average throw yards is pretty far downfield. I feel like every time I'm watching him, it's 3rd and 4, and the dude's throwing back a 20-yard pass. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
His average yards, him chucking a ball up and it being an incomplete pass doesn't mean anything. His average yard per actual completion is 9.5.
Oh, that's not the point. That's not what I'm saying. It's just how he's playing is not. It doesn't look like it's really under any plan or scheme, or it just kind of looks like he's running the offense, to be honest, because it's not centered around Kamara.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell that means, but it's not good, and they're going to win games against good teams, I'm sure, but it's going to be super inconsistent. And I guess it just all comes down to, like I said, how are they going to look by the time Michael Thomas comes back is the biggest question. That's the biggest thing. But Giants side, just to touch on them super quick, I think Saquon and Galladay look very good. I think they're healthy. I think they're back, and I think Giants can win some games if that's the case. For sure.
Yeah, they're not a bad offense. They just are a bad team.
Their defense is atrocious. Yeah, I mean it's been since like Eli has been there. It's been that long. They've been. I mean, even the last couple of years with him, it's been.
Daniel Jones still makes really bad mistakes here and there. So
he does. He does.
So, you can never really trust him as a team, but.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones is part of the reason to blame of what I was saying about Odell Beckham earlier, even. Just a lot of inconsistency on Odell's targets. But, I just want to touch on that because those two key players of the team are looking really good. And I could see them, if they are healthy and going to look anywhere near that, they can end up in a near 500 team, or maybe just under, maybe 2 games under 500, which is more than I thought they would end up being. But moving to the Panthers and Cowboys, I think this was one of the best games of the week, personally.
It was a good game. I mean, I call the Cowboys winning for sure. I mean, only 8 points, only 1 possession game, but it was a good game. It was definitely closer than I thought it was. I did not think it was going to be this close. I thought the Cowboys were going to blow them out.
Yeah, dude, I am very, very impressed with Sam Darnold.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the defense isn't good. I mean, what else props are you going to give it? He came this close to a good Cowboys defense without McCaffrey. And they lost Curtis Samuel. All they literally have is DJ Moore.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a touchdowns in the first 4 games, either by a quarterback or by a player. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, I just think he's playing at a high level. They lost Curtis Samuel last year going into this year. Robbie Anderson has been either hurt or pretty inconsistent, kind of unreliable to throw to. And Christian McCaffrey's been hurt. And the rookie hasn't been a crazy good backup the way Mike Davis was for Christian McCaffrey last time he went down. So I just honestly point to this as, and again, like I said, bad defense too. So I just honestly point to this as really good play by him.
Amari Cooper had 2 touchdowns this game. No, 1 touchdown.
It was a good catch, though. Really good catch. Did you see that?
They had a good game today, or this weekend.
Yep.
Very good game.
Yep.
Actually, in the offense, but still, Tony Pollard still in the offense. 10 touches. He didn't get a target though this game.
No, he didn't do as much this week. But this is why I'm just saying, like I was saying before, where
I don't know if it was the defense, but Dalton Schultz might be starting to be Dak Prescott's check down man because he had the most targets and catches on the team.
Yeah, if you go check out the waiver column, I actually have him in it. I think I'd say probably top 15 on the year. He's kind of like that Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, Dawson Knox, Jared Cook are all kind of in that same jumbled mix of. I think you'll at least get 6 points for whatever the hell that's worth, like a 6 to 14 Fortunately, it's kind of the best. I mean, given at that position, that's why Travis Kelce was picked as early as he was in leagues. But no, that's pretty impressive on that end. I don't know. I mentioned in that video, I don't know what that looks like for Dalton Schultz once Michael Gallup gets back, because he does a lot of his work middle field that Dalton Schultz is getting right now. But as of right now, I think he's a good play. For sure. No, it was just an impressive game overall. It was one of my favorite games of the week. DJ Moore's a freaking beast. He's a top 5 wide receiver right now in fantasy. So, shout out him. And we'll go over to... I was right about this game, by the way. Cardinals and Rams, 37-20. What do you got to say about it?
Wait a minute. Matt Stafford. But other than that, let's just hope that the Rams keep playing bad at least for one more week. Something's up with. Robert Woods keeps getting trash time touchdowns, and that's about it. They don't. I think that's the biggest flaw in the Rams right now is them not being able to utilize Robert Woods in any way.
Yeah, they haven't much at all.
A very mediocre year.
He is. Yeah, he is. And I don't know enough about his target to talk a whole crazy lot on it, but just from my small knowledge, I know he just seems to be a little off this year. Now, does that mean, for all we know, that just means the defense is getting all over him and that's why Cooper Kupp's doing whatever the hell he wants? Or the defense's number one corner can't cover slots, which is also very possible. So, it's hard to say, you know what I mean? I really don't know.
Rookie from last year. The rookie from last year, Van Jefferson Jr. is like taking his targets.
Not all that much, though. Not all that much. That guy's not getting any more than Deshaun Jackson.
It was just.
Oh, we're losing you.
No, yeah. What?
We're losing you.
What do you mean?
Cutting out again. That's all right. No, I mean, he hasn't gotten that many more targets than Deshaun Jackson, though. I mean...
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson gets like 2 to 3 a game. Van Jefferson gets like 5 to 6.
But that's downfield, where Robert Woods is kind of more like a possession wide receiver. He's never been like a deep ball guy.
Yeah, and Higbee's getting those possession passes. So there's
not even necessarily. He's only coming down with 3 to 5 catches a game, though.
Right, so 3 to 5 catches to Higbee, 2 more upfield to this other guy, 1 more to this guy, and that's where all Robert Woods' targets are. That's why he only.
Well, really, he's losing them. All of those make sense, though. He's really losing them to Kupp because Kupp's catches have been nuts.
Kupp's targeting has been basically the same as not. It's increased since last year, but that shouldn't take away from Robert Woods because it didn't take.
But it is though. He's practically getting the amount of targets as the rest of the guys combined.
Right, but the last 3 years, it's been them two getting 8 to 10 targets a game. Now it's Cooper Kupp getting 12 targets a game,
and he's getting like 6,
and Robert Woods is getting like 6. So that basically means that Higbee is taking a target, and Van Jefferson is taking the other 2. But yeah, because he actually has a rapport with Kupp, he's actually increased his targeting. So again, it's not Kupp taking away from his value. It's just the other players that Matt Stafford is a different quarterback than Goff. So
I think Matt Stafford just loves Cooper Kupp.
That he's just he likes passing at tight ends more than Goff did, and it's just how it works. He likes maybe he's just got a better connection with Van Jefferson. That's just how it works.
Darrell Henderson looked pretty good.
Huh?
Daryl Henderson looked pretty good.
Yeah, but like I said, they had to abandon the run because he only had 14 touches. They had to abandon the run.
No, it's pretty good though. I don't think I necessarily would give them all too much more. And if you care about the fantasy purposes, I mean, I hope his health is okay. But even if it isn't, I'm dropping Sony Michelle. I don't know about you, but I don't want no piece of that. Henderson looks good, and he'll be a 70 to 80% guy when healthy. I don't think anybody else is going to get something out of that backfield other than him. Which is pretty impressive. I didn't expect that out of him, but I thought he looked really good. On the Cardinals side, I mean, they did score 37 points, but I don't know if Hopkins is playing hurt or exactly what's up with him, but he's been.
How many games we got left?
Got a couple left.
Because I'm at 10% and I can't charge. So that's why I was like, we got to speed through it.
But yeah, I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is playing hurt or exactly what's going on with him, but we'll take a look at it a little bit more next week, I suppose, and just take it week by week with him. Some guys just start out slow or are facing top end cornerbacks in the league. So I guess we'll play that by ear and see how that goes. I'm going to the Rams Broncos. Exactly what happened is kind of what I expected.
Ravens Broncos?
Yeah, going to the Ravens Broncos. What I seen is exactly kind of what I thought is Lamar Jackson just gonna run all over them, and Denver couldn't really stop him.
That's pretty much what I saw. It's good defense. Well, Broncos have, without Judy, they can't really do much. Melvin Gordon is pretty washed up.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon's definitely washed up. That's for damn sure. I think they're missing Judy right now, and I think the defense and Bridgewater work really well together to win games, but you get one of these rushing quarterbacks that can get out of the pocket, I think that breaks the entire defense up because that takes away the upside that defensive line has on Denver. So I think that's basically it. I think Marquise Brown looked great last week, which he's kind of boomer bust. He's a good player overall. But that's about it there. Going on to the last two games here. First one is Raiders and Chargers. You were sad as hell about this one.
I wasn't sad. I just thought the Raiders just didn't play good in the first half. That's really the only reason they lost. And
yeah.
That Jared Cook catch. The Jared Cook catch on that fourth down play is really what sealed the win.
Yeah, that Jared Cook. Too
no
damn
injuries
good.
in the game. I don't really have much to say about the game other than Raiders are still 3-1.
One thing that I could say about the game is I think Austin Eckler may be a top 7 running back in the NFL.
No, he was having a shitty overall.
I think it's amazing, dude. He has some of the best stats for the last 2 years in a row, dude.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about these last 2 years combined. I'm talking about just this year. He was averaging 48 yards rushing and maybe 3 catches. He's not having a great year.
His stats are just always padded, especially fantasy football wise. He's good. I wouldn't take too much away from the Raiders on this one. It was a well played game as you see from the other games that they played this year. They're always amazing in the second half. And kudos to both teams. They're playing well. That division may be the best division in the NFL right now. Arguably with the Seahawks or Arizona Rams and 49ers. That might be a little better, but close to it. I give them both props. That was a good game. And we're going to finish it off with the Sunday night Bucks and Patriots. Tom Brady going back into Foxborough, and he looked like Tom Brady, very good, but Bill Belichick played him very hard.
Yeah, just a lot of defense in this game. I think there was 1 touchdown on each side.
That sounds about right. I think, you had Leonard Fournette and Jacoby Myers, I want to say?
No, there was 2 touchdowns.
No, the Patriots for sure had
Ronald
2
Jones,
touchdowns.
yeah, Ronald Jones got 1 touchdown, and then Jones threw for 2. But still, other than that, I mean, just very, very defensive. All field goals, no injuries, just a lot of rain in this game. Bucks took it.
It was a very nice way to finish out the Sunday night slate of games, though, for sure. Just kind of a nice package to finish it up with. But, that's about it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show and had a nice week 4 moving into week 5. Make sure to check out that waiver show if you haven't. Leave a like and subscribe. It does go a long way. And I wish everybody good luck on the waivers, and we'll see you for the spreads and bets on Friday. Have a nice day, guys.
Get your dog spayed and neutered.